Hi everyone, a very good evening to all of you. How are you all? Oh, okay. I need to put my mobile on silent. Right. Hello, only cat. Hi Smriti, good evening. So good to see you all excited. Yes, how is the weather at your end? Where, where you live? How is the weather today? So it's raining at my place, and that automatically puts me in a happy mood. All right. Okay, so what are we going to talk about today? I'll show you some pictures and let's see if you're able to guess what we are going to talk about from them. Yeah? Okay, so here's your first picture. Good evening, Neelu. Sunny in Mumbai, okay. I think that's also good because the monsoon is there in Mumbai as well, right? That's so good to know. Thank you, only cat. Hi, Vaibhav. So, what do you all see in this slide? Sunny in Bihar, okay. All right, so I'm hoping it's not hot, it's sunny. Yes. So, we see doors, windows, we see tables, candles, some good floral arrangements. Yes, it's a restaurant, right? So, probably we'll talk about a restaurant or some restaurants today. Yeah? Okay, and what particularly about restaurants? Look at this picture here. It looks like a fine dining restaurant. Correct. So here's a menu, as you can see. Cafe Martin. Then it talks about supper and what all they have for supper. Yes? And it says ask for the key of the cellars, so you can apparently go to the cellars. Yeah, so we are going to talk about menus. Okay, so quite specific, yeah, menus of one restaurant or a number of restaurants, but you'll see the larger issue when we read the excerpt, right? So this is an excerpt from the NYT. It reflects the culture of the time, right? And it also is related to a bit to politics, and 584 words is the word count, so slightly on the higher side, 584 words, but because it's not a difficult reading them won't pose a challenge for you. However, I think you'll realize that vocabulary is important even when we are reading something that's topical in nature, that's not philosophical in nature. So try to infer the meanings of various words contextually as you go. Right? Good evening, Preetikana. So are we ready to begin? We'll read slide by slide, you will interpret, we'll discuss the questions, then we'll discuss the excerpt, right? So that's how we'll proceed. Let's see our first slide. Start. Red. Good. Others? All right then. Let's go to the next slide. Okay. अच्छा रुक जाओ भाई. ओहो. चलें only cat. Easy language. Okay, Yugal says done. Others? Okay, all right. Let's go to the third slide. Okay, Ronak says done. Others? Last slide Preetikana is saying was easier. All right. Let's attempt the questions then. Yes? Okay. So question 1. Okay, I've got one answer already. Let's see. Okay. Fastest fingers first. Yes, let's see the top 5 responses. Ronak says B. Frank says B. Okay. Yugal says A. And Neelu says B. So it's B versus A in the chat box. And I somehow see B to be a prominent answer choice. Right. So I want more of you to respond. As I say, no negative marking here. So you had to eliminate in this question, isn't it? And with elimination, it could be done. In fact, if you read the opening paragraph, okay, if you read the opening paragraph, this suit is a discrimination suit. Yes. So what do we mean by discrimination? When one party is being deprived of something that the other party is not, that is discrimination, right? So it's a discrimination suit. So here, when I talk about the fact that, this analogy has been drawn, that it's a tradition done in the same spirit. The spirit is the same as, let's say, lighting a cigarette. So probably they are talking about chivalry here, that it's done in a chivalrous spirit, right? Or standing up when she enters the room. However, even though it is done in this spirit, these things are not the same as, let's say, not keeping a price on ladies' menu. Because when, let's say, I am looking at a dish and I don't know its price, I will hesitate in ordering it. Okay. So it is kind of taking away my agency, don't you think? My ability to act on my own accord, my freedom. So actually, a ladies' menu deprived women of making financial decisions. The compared activities did not, right? If you light a cigarette, just, you just put your lighter there, right? And, or when you stand up, that does not deprive someone of something, right? But here, it was depriving women of making financial decisions. Hence, B. Correct. So A says that while the compared activities were US customs. Okay. Is this explicitly stated in the passage that they were US customs? Firstly, no, it's not explicitly stated. Secondly, is that the reason why this analogy has been made? Is that the reason why this comparison has been made? No. The comparison is made to show that this was being done in the same spirit. Okay. In the same spirit as two other things. Okay. What is chivalry? I use this word here. What is the meaning of chivalry? So when men show extraordinary respect, in a way, men show a lot of respect towards women, right? And they make certain gestures to show that respect, right? So for example, opening the door for a woman, here standing up when she enters the room, that is called chivalry. Okay, so in the same spirit. So the spirit is that of chivalry. Now, C says a lady's menu was meant to insult women. It is extreme. Correct, Ronak. This is extreme. This is not implied by my passage. Yes. D says the compared activities were not expensive. Single-handedly footing a luxury restaurant's bill was. Okay. But is that the reason, is this the primary reason for making this comparison? Or let's say the issue at hand here, the expenses that are being incurred. Remember, we are looking at this whole issue from the perspective of women, not from the perspective of men, whether it is expensive for them, whether it is cheap for them, right? So the perspective is that of women, and therefore this should be eliminated, right? So C eliminated, D eliminated, A eliminated, B is the answer, and see, most of you got it right. Good. Okay, let's see Question number 2. What is the implication of dubious honor as mentioned in para 5? Okay. So let's go to para 5. Yes. Read the options quickly and then let's go to para 5. Red? Yes, it's raining. Okay, let's go to the questions. Okay. All right, I've got B. A. Okay. What else? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 responses so far. Need more responses. A or B. All right. Okay. So now see this. Have you heard of something called a backhanded compliment? Backhanded compliment. What is the meaning of this term? When it seems like you're giving a compliment to someone, but actually it is sarcastic in nature. So you're not really complimenting the person. That is called a backhanded compliment. You're being sarcastic there, right? So for example, if let's say there is this person, whenever you go to their place for a party, some or the other dispute arises and you tell them, oh, you always manage to entertain. Yeah, so that's a backhanded compliment. It seems like you're complimenting them for their entertainment abilities as a host, but you are actually being sarcastic. Now this person also, what did she learn from that incident? That this publicity stunt works, right? So the fake table publicity stunt had proven effective and would go on to be the first of many, earning her the dubious honor of long-time master of the press conference. So if you are saying that somebody knows how to really attract the media, how to handle a press conference, or how to actually gather a press conference for themselves, right? So this dubious honor is actually a backhanded compliment there. Dubious because you are not sure if it is really an honor or not, right? It's not actually an honor, right? And this came from the New Republic writer Jeffrey Rosen. So tell me now, should A be the answer or should C be the answer? I understand that a lot of you eliminated C, citing that this is extreme. However, it is not the truth. Authenticity has to do with, let's say, something being true or fake. So the authenticity of the honor is likely to be doubtful. That's not really the point here. The implication of using the words dubious honor is that the author of this passage is indicating to us that it was perhaps a backhanded compliment. It was meant to be perhaps an insult, not really an honor. Okay, so C is the answer. Good, Ronak. So then you should have typed C. Yes. So trust. Sometimes we should trust our hunch. So this one I could say was difficult for you. The previous question was easy for you, right? Let's see. So this is called a contextual vocabulary question. The question type, you can see some such questions in CAT as well if you open the previous year papers, where certain, let's say, term or certain word is given to you and you have to interpret it in the context of the passage, right? Okay, then let's see question 3. Okay, let me make it relatively easier for you. This is pronounced as victuals. Okay, not victuals, victuals. Victuals means simply food, just a fancy word for food. Okay, yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. 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 Okay, so I've got a lot of D, no, 3 D's and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So it's a competition between B and D in the chat box. Right, let's read this. So which of the following best captures the implication of the description of the humorous newspaper column in 1927 as mentioned in para 6? So you don't even have to go back because this description is right here for you. So it says a 1927 humorous newspaper column lampooned. What does this mean? It's actually an important tone word also for you, lampooning. So what does this mean? Lampooning. Lampooning is an adjective, lampooned is a verb. It means to mock. To mock. Okay. So a 1927 humorous newspaper column mocked a New York restaurant that used them. Okay, used what? Ladies' menu. That used ladies' menus. Okay, as high hat. So this column called that restaurant high hat. You see, so let's say you don't know what high hat is. Fine. Let's see if we can still navigate this question. High hat. You see, to show rich and careless disregard for such vulgar details as the cost of one's victuals. So it's kind of trying to say that the rich people think it's vulgar to talk about the cost of food. It's a vulgar thing to do. Yeah. So the column is therefore mocking this restaurant. Okay. For using these ladies' menu and calling this as high hat. High hat is something that is snobbish, something that is very elitist. Okay, elitist means something that you do in order to show off your status, right? And look down upon other people who perhaps belong to a lower social class. So that is high hat. Okay, now that I know the meaning of all of this, let's look at the options. A says the restaurant visitors are required to wear a high hat. I am happy that nobody has marked this, right? It's not a literal usage of high hat. Okay. Then B says the restaurant is snobbish in assuming that rich visitors don't care about food prices. Okay. Now, this restaurant, is it assuming that rich visitors don't care about food prices? Through this menu, does this menu show an assumption made on the part of the restaurant, or rather does this menu signal something? Does this menu signal or show something? Tell me. So the restaurant is assuming something, or the restaurant is signaling something through the menu? Tell me. So my sentence uses the word to show. It is signaling, it is not assuming. Okay, so B is eliminated. Now let's look at C and D. D says the restaurant is snobbish in showing that the rich are careless with paying their food bill. Have I used careless in this sense that, when it comes to paying the bill, the rich people are very careless. Probably they'll not pay the right amount. Yeah. Is that the meaning here? So I was not expecting D. Okay. D is distorting the meaning of what is said. It's a trap option. It's distorted. Right? It's not that the rich are careless when it comes to paying money. No, that's not the idea. The answer is C here. Okay, the restaurant is elitist. The restaurant is being high hat, right? In signaling, in kind of showing this, that if you are concerned about food prices, that is something that the rich people find tasteless. Having this concern about things, mere things such as the cost of food, is considered tasteless by rich people. Okay, they consider it vulgar. Does this make sense? Why C? Why not B? Yes, cost of one's victuals is the price of food. Menus show food prices, right? Neelu? Okay. FrankTube, is this clear? The difference between B and C. B is saying the restaurant is assuming something, right? That rich visitors don't care about food prices. Rather, it is not snobbish because it is assuming it. It is snobbish because it is signaling this through the ladies menu, right? What snobbish क्यों है वो? क्योंकि वो ये चीज़ शो कर रहा है, सिग्नल कर रहा है लेडीज़ मेन्यू से कि अरे प्राइसेस तो इम्पोर्टेंट है ही नहीं फॉर रिच पीपल. प्राइसेस they consider it vulgar. Okay, so in such questions, these are called essence of a sentence questions or the meaning of a sentence questions, and you will find such questions in your CAT previous year papers. here what you have to do is you have to stick to the sentence, right? So for example, you had to pay attention to words such as showing versus assuming, right? Then when we say careless disregard, it's not that they are being sloppy when it comes to paying the food bill कि ज़्यादा पैसे दे दिए कम पैसे दे दिए, that's not the idea. So the usage of careless here versus the usage of careless there. Then vulgar and tasteless being mirrored here. Yes, see, tasteless is being mirrored in vulgar, so similar meanings. So you have to stick to the sentence here, okay, and see which is the closest. Okay, all right, then let's go to the next question. Okay, which of the following can be inferred from para 6? So read the options and then we'll go back to para 6. Read? You have to read this paragraph in case somebody is wondering. Okay, perfect. Let's go to the fourth question. Okay, I've got the first response. What about others? All right. More responses, come on. All right. Absolutely correct. D is the answer here. So this was more of a direct question in case you knew the meaning of de rigueur. Yes, this is the only word that could have posed a challenge for you. Remember when we began, I told you that, in this passage you'll realize the importance of vocabulary as well. So this is a French term, de rigueur. What does it mean? See, rigor, we know this word rigor in English as well, right? When we say something is rigorous, something that requires rigor, that means it requires a lot of effort on our part. Yes, thorough, careful. So here it means something that is required by, let's say, your etiquettes. Okay, required by etiquette. So required, oh my god, my pen. Required by etiquette, or let's say the current trends, right? Current fashion, current trends, that is de rigueur. So it says the menu case is now only a footnote in feminist history, and with good reason. Ladies menus have never been the rigor in the US, never been required by etiquette or current trends. Yes, footnote is something that is not very important. Yes, that's why you would put it in the footnote, additional information. So good that you actually used the context to interpret it, in case let's say you didn't understand the meaning of de rigueur. So 2 easy questions in this, 2 questions that were challenging for you, and D Delhi is the answer here. Nobody has marked anything else. That's amazing. Anybody who was confused in the other options? Any other option that was confusing? While this is true, while this is something that I could see from para 6, that is not really the point, yes, as to why, let's say, they are less important in the feminist history. Also, saying that they were popularly criticized in the US, making this feminist struggle less hard, they are just trying to say that in the US's history, in the US's feminist history, they are not important. They are very less important. So, no. A says the mocking of ladies' menus led to their going out of fashion in the US. Again, see, if I have to look at the point or the main or the key ideas of a paragraph, this first sentence actually gives a key idea that how it was never really required by etiquette or current trend, which is kind of exemplified by this mocking that is happening. So this mocking is used as an example. Okay, I hope I'm not writing that it's visible to you that I'm writing example. So this is exemplifying the fact that it was never required by etiquette, by fashion, right? That's why it was being mocked. So this is not again the main idea, the main point, right? So these are examples to show how it was never really something that was a rooted tradition in the US. Okay. 1-4 easy, 3-4 moderate. Yes, this was an easy to moderate passage. So last time I saw a comment on the session that said that, for the first time I got 4 on 4 correct, and I'm really happy. And that kind of made me realize the importance of giving easy to moderate passages as well, that it's important for your morale. Yes, so that's why I again brought an easy to moderate passage for you. And a couple of things that I wanted to share about this. So, have you noticed this, that in many Western countries, the prices of products are not written as clearly as they are, let's say, in an Indian store? Has anybody noticed this? Yes, Ronak, definitely. So, I am trying to bring passages from various sources, right? So, some of these are going to be topical. For instance, next I was thinking about bringing something from the Spectator or public books. So, they may be topical in nature because Spectator is again a magazine that talks about current issues. But of course, we'll strike a balance, right? Anyway, so anybody who has noticed this, so this is actually a thing there that, the prices are not very clearly written on the packet. A lot of times in big departmental stores, they'll be labeled on the shelf where they are placed, but the packet won't show the price. Okay, and perhaps it comes from this fact that it's considered rude to explicitly write the price of a product on the packet, and I never understand that. Okay, also this lawyer who's mentioned in this particular article, Allred, Gloria Allred, she fought for a while in the case Roe versus Wade. Anybody who knows what this case was about, Roe versus Wade? Okay, so this was a popular, case in the US which was about abortion rights. It led to women being granted abortion rights, and recently, I think a couple of years back, it was overturned. Roe versus Wade was overturned, right? That means the US went backward in terms of abortion rights. It earlier gave abortion rights but then took them away, right? So, yeah. What does this mean? I highlighted this bit as well. Making sad inroads upon all propriety. Iran, Israel particularly. For Israel, Gaza, there are some good books. Iran, Israel, I'll find out, Ronak, and then let you know. Okay. So, when this person is, see, a Baltimore Sun reporter wrote that this New York custom borrowed from France, you know, having these restaurants that were only for women, it was making sad inroads upon all propriety. It was making sad inroads. It was kind of encroaching, invading all propriety, everything that is appropriate. So this is a criticism of these all female restaurants. Okay, so yeah, next class is tomorrow itself. Okay, so we'll meet tomorrow at 5 p.m. Okay, and we'll talk about something from these sources that I just mentioned, right? Either public books or the Spectator. There was this one more on my mind. So I was a new scientist. Yes, one of these. Okay. So I think this passage made you realize this, that vocabulary building and contextual inference, they're quite important. And here is a sample of this menu from an all female restaurant. Now this restaurant is called Ladies Restaurant, but notice that of course it will have prices because it's an all female restaurant, so the women are expected to pay. Okay, so it has prices. All right. Okay, then I'll see you next time. Till then, tomorrow itself at 5 p.m. So keep practicing and I'll try to bring in an abstract passage. Okay, bye bye, see you.